Right. Um, Good afternoon, everyone. And let me just quickly put some questions before I introduce myself officially. Right. Uh, what if I told you that automating a broken process does not make your business more efficient? It just makes failure happen faster. I'm going to be drilling further into this, right? Because we are in the era of talking about digitalization and automation, right? And then, of course, that's the way forward. And I'm super supportive of these particular things. I'm passionate about it. But before that, what is the conscious things we need to look into it? That's what we're going to discuss today, right? And companies spend millions expecting automation to fix the inefficiency only to realize they've just automated a chaos, right? What that means. Give a second, we're going to cover that as well into it, right? So what is today's session is all about is basically to show you how to avoid that trap by optimizing the first, automating second, and driving the real operation excellence, right? That's basically today's topic is going to be. Okay, let me officially introduce myself. My name is Manika Vasigam. Just in short, you can just call me Manika, right? I'm actually a transformational expert as well as a coach and speaker. And I've authored two books. My third one is coming up as well, right? Excuse me. So I keep it short on that. So today in fast-paced business landscape, right? We all know that, change happened very significantly, right? Operation excellence is no longer optional. It's a critical driver of the success. Okay, let me define what's operation excellence, right? So, of course, in Google or ChatGPT can give you a definition of operation excellence academically. But for me, keep it simple. Operation excellence is all about how to make your operation run in excellent mode. What that means? It means that can we meet all your KPI? When we meet the KPI, we know that we are meeting business goal already, right? So that's all about operation excellence. So Lean Six Sigma and digitalization automation is enabler to support to achieve operation excellence. That's the reason I'm saying that it's no longer optional. It's a critical driver because every organization want to optimize their processes, reduce the costs, right? Increase the revenue and so on, and profit as well. Okay, so let's drill into it. Defining operation excellence beyond efficiency, right? So we talk about efficiency plus effectiveness, right? Today, I'm going to add one more, adaptability. So if you're not continuously adapting what's happening around us, it's considered a very, very serious offender, I will say, because it will lead us to a not relevant in the market, right? Why we are doing all this? With the simple reason we want to enhance our customer experience and make the organization profitable. Why I say customer experience? Because without customer, there's no organization. And we need to make sure our customer experience are good to keep the customer with us. As all of us know, loyalty is no more a question by the customer area. They want varieties. They want to keep moving, especially the new generation. So it's very important to give a good experience to keep our customer with us. Right? And before I go further, I like to bring up this quote by Bill Gates, right? It says that an efficient operation, when you automate, will magnify efficiency. If you automate inefficient operation, it will magnify inefficiency. I think it's a very, very important point here. If you take our broken process into system, it's just going to be speed up the broken activities. All right. So what is important here? How do we make our operation or processes efficient before we touch into automation? That's the goal here, right? So what you already know, right? That means all of these statistics, you might heard about it, you might come across, you might read some articles that you talk about this. Most of the works today have been automated, a lot of HR processes have been automated, all right, and so on.
Sorry, Mr. Manika Vadragam. Actually, I believe you sharing the presenter mode on.
Okay. I think the slide changed.
Yeah.
Let me just sorry for that. Um,
Correct, that's great.
All right, sorry for that small technical challenge. My slide suddenly changed. Okay, so this is something that you already know, right? The percentage of changes are happening in the organization, and that is significantly high towards automation, right? But what I want to talk today is what might surprise you. Right? So there is a statistic show based on a survey and also articles where it says that 90% of automation initiative fail due to technical difficulty, right? The term technical difficulty can be as simple as skill set of people in the organization not ready to use our latest technology. That can fail our automation, right? Or our legacy systems in our organization, right? To integrate with the latest technology, that also can cause a failure as well. So it is very serious when we're looking at the number of percentage that fail, right? So it is very important how we can actually be conscious and ready to go for the automation, right? Another challenge we see in the organization today is actually resistant to change. That's the third biggest challenge in automation. People want to automate process, but there's no adoptions or acceptance by people, right? That's another area that we see as a biggest challenges, right? And 45% of the companies using AI and robotics struggle with integration. Like what I mentioned earlier, can be our legacy system where our new technology, new software are not able to communicate with. And the company might not be ready to change the entire organization system, for example, right? Larger plants, right, is facing a huge hours of downtime due to this technology failures. So this is all very, very important elements that we need to take in consideration before we go into our automation space. Is our process ready for it? That's what we're going to talk about today, right? So before I go further, I just want to share some real case studies that's happened around the world that actually impacting in the process of automation, right? The first one I want to bring is actually on the Amazon case study. So it's a real case that you can actually access to that particular article that I'm flashing out. You can actually go to the article and read the full articles. So what actually happened in Amazon is actually they have a hiring tool that automated, right? Which is continuously rejecting a female candidate due to the biasness in historical hiring data, right? All of us know artificial intelligence, it don't work by itself, right? There's a rules and there's a data that machine learning, the data need to feed in for it to learn so that it can actually do the job, right? So in that case, when you put a wrong data into it, of course, you learn wrong thing and you do the wrong thing. So the historical data that we're using for some reason, that was a rejection on a female candidate, and now it's automatically rejecting it, right? So Amazon has to shut down the whole AI system after they realizing that there is some issues with the particular system, the way they're selecting the candidate of it, right? That's one example. Let me get another example for you. This is actually on the mortgage application, right? Where a major bank automated the loan approval, but failed to update the credit risk model. So when you're not putting the proper policies and regulatory requirements into your system, it tend to do a wrong output as well, right? So there's a wrong approval, right? And also wrong rejections taking place. So rejection is less risk than the approval, right? Rejection, you lost opportunity. If you approve it a wrong accounts and then you don't have a collection later, money already out already, which leading to a regulatory fines and lawsuit and so on. This is another example. Third example is on the warehouse automation project, right? Which has failed after 150 million investment. And this failure, right, is basically because enhancing of efficiency of space, right? So it's a very inadequate planning, lack of employee training, and also underestimation of systems complexity. All those things are actually impacted the whole system to fail now, right? I mean, the last example I want to show it to you guys is Target Canada. Target is a company name, by the way, right? They invested 2 billion on supply chain, right? And without addressing the underlying process inefficiency, that actually make the system fail to align with the supply with the demand, leading to stockouts of popular items and overstocking for the less popular at once, right? That means you have more stocks based on the system you're actually purchasing it, but there's no buyer here, right? So that actually lead to them a loss of 2 billion, not million, billion, right? So this is a dangerous of when we talk about automating a process which is not work out, right? All right. So what might be surprise you, right? So in the top challenging in automation implementation, right? One of the major component that actually come up is actually mapping out the complex process. So this is where the Lean Six Sigma play a very critical role. How do you actually map your process correctly before you talk about automations, right? So it's very, very important because that actually, when we don't have a proper understanding of our current process and the future process, and you might be end up doing a wrong process in the system. So the automation trap here is basically we often see is instant solution. When there's a problem, people say let's automate it. That's the dangerous of it. Second, we see the pressure of digital transformation. Everybody talk about it. The town is talking about it. Should I jump into the same boat and try to get the automation in place? Or cost reduction goals. We thought just automating process can save a lot of money, right? Or scalability needs and so on. So all those are something that we have to be extra careful when these terms are driving us towards the automation, right? And what is the common pitfall? Automating a false process, right? Process which is broken, or lack of stakeholder engagement. We are not getting all the department people involved together, or ignoring the human elements, right? Remember, guys, it is not AI only. It's HI, AI, HI. Human intelligence, artificial intelligence, come back to human intelligence. So we still need the human involvement on the front and the back of the process. You can't just do artificial intelligence 100%. Somebody must tell what the system to do it, right? And once the system do it, somebody need to validate whether it's done correctly or not. And inefficiency of data-driven insight. So we have lack of data or historical data to support for us to build the automation. So those are the pitfalls we see in our automation process. What is a commonly used approach when we assess the process and we straight talk about how do we automate it, what can we do automation, right? And talk about all the automation tools, whether it's IoT or BPR or and so on, right? So RPA and the list goes on, or AI for the matter. Okay, and then we will monitor and improve. This is a common practice in many organizations, right? And this practice have a lot of challenges in terms of are we doing the right thing or not? Are we doing the right process or not? Right? So what I want to suggest today as a winning formula is first we assess the process which we want to automate. Second, we talk about evaluate the inefficiency and bottleneck of the analyze the process and understand whether the process is ready for the automation or not, right? And fix whatever need to be fixed. That means you redesign the process, optimize it, and then only you go to the automation. Right? We're just adding two more steps in between so that you have a complete area of process optimization. It's very important to optimize our process before we go into automation. That make it a seamless automation, right? Because when you optimize the process, you simplify the process, you have less steps, less business requirement, less cost for development, and faster implementation as well. Right? There's a lot of benefit when you can actually optimize our processes, right? And building the bridge of connection, process, and automation, right? Sorry, I have to go a bit more fast because of the time, but I just want to give the entire understanding of the process, right? So first, identify the automation. Second, map the process. Third, design the automated workflow, right? So there's a 3 steps of process when you are building the bridge between the automation and also process. The word process here, you can always connect back to Lean Six Sigma. The smarter automation is basically first, understand the process have less variation. That's a key one, right? As we know, Six Sigma is all about focusing on reducing variation, right? Second, less waste in the process, right? So Lean is all about waste reductions. And third, we talk about standardized operating procedure, which is SOP is very clear. We have a level 5 mapping, the detailed process mapping for people who want to go for automation. And the fourth is basically RASI, right? Where responsibility, accountable, consult, inform is very clear. And the last one is make sure the process don't have a bottleneck. Because when you automate, you're going to move the bottleneck inside the system anyway. So these are 5 important key elements that you should be looking into it before you want to go for automations, right? If obviously all this can be addressed by Lean Six Sigma. Right. So when you are automating your process, the first step is always process optimization. If the process already in a soft, that means already digitalized, obviously you can go straight for automation. If it is still manual, it is highly recommended to digitalize it and then we go for the automation, right? When you talk about automation, always we need to make sure it is already digitalized, the particular process, so that we can actually go for the optimal automations, right? So, but the key component here I want to highlight is you need to optimize the process, simplify it by less rest, less variation, less what's so-called waste in the process before you go into the automation, right? Future trend in operation excellence, right? AI power automation. Basically, we're going to see a lot of processes are going to be having artificial intelligence support going forward. I think, especially in a service industry, we are saying it's moving quite fast. And of course, in manufacturing, we're seeing industry 4.0 and 5.0 is coming up as well, very significant, right? And then we're going to talk about predictive analysis more now, right? Because we got more data now. How can we use the data to create mathematical model for your future predictions, right? I think once upon a time, we talked about a lot about descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. Now, prediction statistics and prospective statistics are coming very popular, right? And hyper automation, another component that is also getting into trend now. What do you mean by hyper automation? We can talk this in two perspectives. One is we are using multiple technology putting together, for example, IoT, AI, machine learning, all putting together. Or and also we are looking at hyper automation definition as you're doing your end-to-end process without human intervention. That's basically also known as a hyper automation. That means from customer to customer is all fully automated, right? So this is the three main areas that we are seeing the future trend in operation excellence, which is also strongly supported by Lean Six Sigma framework for achieving this particular goal as well, right? The key insight on the winning formula summarized, right? So we talk about optimize your process. This is very important. Streamline your workflow for the maximum efficiency, followed by implement the automations, right? That's where you are able to do, especially on the repeatability areas, which is a job are very repeated task kind of things. We can look into how can we use that. And then the third component is measure the performance, right? As I always say that what you don't measure, you can't manage. So it's very important that we have a measurement to see whether our automation is working or not. Is it our implementation is working or not, right? So it's always to have that measure the performance. All right. So before I come into wrapping up the sessions, I like to just emphasize back again, automation amplify what we already exists, right? The most successful companies don't just invest in technology, they invest in the process mastery. Optimize first, then automate. Because the future is not just digital, it's truly intelligent when built on an optimized process. So people are not looking at just automate things, right? People want it to be intelligent, right? So it's very important that you are able to build automations or digitalization in an optimized process where people feel it easier and faster and they can actually enjoy and give a better customer experience as well, right? So that's basically the final quote I want to put it up as a takeaway from the short sharing that I'm just doing it, right? Thank you very much. And we help organization to achieve operational excellence by optimizing the process and driving the digitalization without unnecessary complexity or high upfront cost, right? So that's basically our goal, right? Those are interested always can follow me in a LinkedIn as well, right? Thank you very much for the opportunities. And I hope that, it is actually give you a good insight about Lean Six Sigma and also digital and automation, where Lean Six Sigma play very critical role on process optimization, right? So if you enjoy the sessions, please put hi in the chat. At least I will know that, it is actually beneficial for you, right? Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Mandika Vazagam, for the engaging and insightful session. Your strong foundation for today's discussion with a clear and practical view of how process optimization and automation. So it can truly become a winning formula for organization. Yeah. So now we invite you all to our participant to join the Q&A session. So if you have a question, kindly send in the chat box or raise your hand.
What's your advice for organizations struggling with change fatigue during the automation rollouts?
Yeah, so we have one
let me
question.
understand this question, right? So is it about change management, whether people are accepting on the automations?
Yes.
Is that the one?
Yes.
Okay. See, change is actually starting from the time you want to kickstart that particular project itself. So the challenge is you must remember two things people don't like in operation. Right? One is people don't like surprise. Right? People don't like surprise because don't come and tell me what I'm supposed to do. Right? Second, people don't like instruction. Right? So these two components in an operation perspective or company perspective, it is not something that people enjoy listening from somebody. So to avoid these two, they need to be involved on that particular initiatives. So it's very important that you are actually getting them involved from day one itself when you kick off the project that is going to be automated. Who they? All the stakeholders, right? Stakeholder here means definition of stakeholder is everyone that impacted due to the changes in your project, right? So when the initiative is kick off and you saw that many people are actually having this uh, impact due to the changes, they need to be involved, right? So that I think that will be my one advice, that involving the people together and they know this is coming, acceptance will be better. The focus should be given to the acceptance because acceptance carry almost 80% in the change management program, because you can give a best product to the people, if they don't accept it, you can't see the results. So it's very important that they are accepting whatever we're giving, right? As per today, we know some process in our organization not perfect, but because people have accepted, somehow they make it happen, right? I hope that's answered the questions.
Yes, Mr. Manika Vasakam. So, thank you for the question and thank you for the answer. As for me, I also have a question for my side, which is
Sure.
right. So, sorry. So, as for me, in your experience, what are the most common mistakes companies make when automating fully optimized processes?
Sorry, what are they?
Okay, so, all right. In your experience, what are the most common mistakes companies make when automating fully optimized processes?
Are you asking about which company is optimizing the process first?
Yes. What commonly mistake that company mostly do
Commonly
when
mistake.
mm-hmm.
What are the common
Commonly
mistake company
yes,
makes when you go for automation?
yes.
All right, all right. I think I'm highlighted quite a number in the presentation itself. I'm going to repeat it again for you. Basically, is number one, I'm talking about optimizing the process again, right? When I say optimize the process, we are talking about less variation in the process, because the process which have more variation means it is just telling that there are too many rules you need to put in for the automations, and you might not cover all the possibilities of the in the process, right? And second is less waste, right? So if a process which already have too much or non-valued activity in the process, and you are automating the process, you are taking the what you call non-valued activities into the system, right? So that's second one, right? The third one, we see the role and responsibility. So sometimes some process there's no owner, right? Everybody's the owner for the process, but there's no one accountable owner, right? When you automate the process and you want to send for approval or for info things, you don't know who to connect to the right people. So sometimes the automation running, the people don't aware about what's going on, right? So that's a third one that I see that's also happening, correct? And the fourth one is like, like what I mentioned earlier, people are trying to jump into the automation without knowing whether the process are ready for the automation or not, right? Not all process can be automated, right? So I want to go back into, as a summary, is I'm going to use the word optimize your process before automate, right? So the common mistake we see is actually people are not optimizing the process, right? So that's basically the comment. So if you talk about Lean and Six Sigma, we are talking about efficiency and effectiveness, right? So these two must be handled.
Okay. Thank you so much for Mr. Manika Zakam. But we have another question
Sure.
uh from Koh Mei Fred, which is could you share some of the most effective strategies or tools you found for optimizing processes, particularly in terms of reducing time of resources consumption without compromising quality?
some most effective strategic or tools you have found to optimizing the process, right? Reducing time and resource. Okay, I think I'm not sure this person have involved on Lean Six Sigma, because there's a lot of tools from Lean Six Sigma to help it out. But to give you some tools that can be immediately, you can look into it, because there's a time and resource consumptions here, is will be value stream mapping. So work with your value stream mapping, where you actually able to see the entire process, but make sure your value stream mapping, you bring it down to level 3 minimum, if not to level 5. So you map it out your whole process, understand every single process, cycle time, touch time, and so on. So then you challenge the process to understand what's value add, non-value add, business value add, right? So those are non-value add and business value add is an opportunity for us to improve further or reduce it or remove it, for example, right? Then you simplify the process, right? So once you simplify process, then only you talk about automation. When you simplify the process, means you are reducing steps or you're combining steps. It will help you to reduce the time as well, right? And by reducing the time, that way you're going to see in terms of your resources requirement might be also changed over here. Okay. Obviously, when you do all these exercises without compromising to the quality. So we always have a primary and secondary metric. If your primary metric, you're driving on efficiency, turnaround time, and so on, we will definitely going to focus on how to reduce, maintain in the secondary metric on the quality part. So the time and the quality always are buddy. It cannot go one better than another one, right? So it's always, you don't compromise quality for time, or you don't compromise time for the quality, right? So you need to be balanced these two. Yeah. So one tool I will definitely suggest to you is to start with is value stream mapping.
All right. So thank you for Mr. Madhika Vazaga for the answer, and also thank you for the everyone who participated us with a question. And then for Madhika Vazaga, thank you for answering the question. So your practical insight and real world example gave us a solid foundation for today's themes. So I very appreciate how you emphasize the importance of designing the system, not just from a technological standpoint, but with a deep understanding of workflow efficiency and also using it. So your experience and strategic perspective really shine through, and I am sure many of us are taking away valuable lesson to apply in our own improvement initiative. So let's we let we now we shift gears to slightly to focus on the practical tools and techniques used to implement AI and automation within the Lean project. So we going to our next speaker, which is Mr. Sivalingam, who is a certified professional technologist and an experienced lean practitioner who have spent his career navigating the realities of deploying digital solution on the ground. He brings a unique perspective that blends technical depth with implementation experience across a variety of industries. So in his session titled Tools of the Trade, Applying AI and Automation in Lean's Project Challenges and Insight, he discusses not only what's available in the digital toolbox, but also the real world hurdles teams face when trying to apply them. From tool selection to change management and also performance metric, expect a transparent value back session. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Sivalingam for our next session and our next topic. So, Mr. Sivalingam, have you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, right. Okay, thank you, Ayn, for the introduction. So good afternoon, everyone. The earlier speaker, Mr. Manika Wasnum, actually he shared a lot of important information, especially on how the operation excellence is important. What are the key elements in there, and how you need to approach automation in order to achieve a good operational excellence. Now, I will be covering on tools of the trade, applying AI and automation in lean projects. But my name is M. Sivalingam. You can call me Siva. And the webinar today, I'll be exploring challenges and insights. Just a quick background on my experience. I have been in the IT industry for the last 35 years, and I have involved myself in various industry, including semiconductor, telecommunication, power distribution, and research and development. I have worked in multinational as well as GLC. And my exposure to Lean Six Sigma comes from organizational process improvement involving mainly CMMI, TMMI. CMMI is Capability Maturity Model Integrated, and TMMI is Test Model Maturity Model Integrated. So for these two models, they have 5 levels. And what is critical for these 5 levels at level 4 and level 5, it involves quantitative management and continuous process improvement. So this is where actually Six Sigma and Lean come into play. Okay, so that's a bit about my background. And so today I will be basically covering what intelligent automation in Lean projects is. And I'll be going through some of the tools. I'll be going through 2 case studies, and then my focus will be on implementation challenges and the mitigation for this. And finally, industry trends and key takeaways. Okay, so if we look at digital evolution of Lean over time, when it began, it was traditional Lean. So in traditional Lean, it was observation based, paper driven, and manual. So what this means is earlier on we had analog meters. So humans manually have to look at meters and take readings, and then jot that down on paper, and then do analysis based on that. So this is all manually driven. Then came the digital age, the shift to digital. So this is when we started getting real-time data. We can use this for predictive analytics. Now, as time moved on, now we have more data coming in. The technology has become more sophisticated, so we are able to extract more information. And what we need now is basically we need new technology to solve the available data with high speed, precision, and able to handle the complexity of the systems today. Okay, so why AI and automation in Lean? So the main thing we want to look at is basically is speed and scale. Why speed? Speed is because we are going to handle large amount of data. So we can, sensors now can extract data in microseconds. So we can basically analyze more data which is coming in from the systems. And it's a larger volume. And why scale is basically on scalability. Why scalability is because once we have managed to implement one of the systems by automation, we will be able to do replication easily. So we need to have a system which is also scalable in that sense. Next is proactive decisions. Why do we need proactive decisions? So this is basically the automation will be able to identify patterns human might miss. So one example of this is in the recent discovery is uh, they have actually used AI to analyze MRI data um, MRI data and images, where they have managed to discover a potential breast cancer 2 years ahead before it is discovered. So the emerging technology that is available at the moment, it is able to do discoveries much ahead before it is actually materializes to become a something like a stage 4 cancer. Okay. Next is we need to also move towards predictive quality, because today we are very reactive in what we do. So what I mean by reactive is basically, example firefighting. When a problem happens, only then we try to put it out. So we need to move forward, going towards predictive analysis, where we need to identify when is the fire going to happen, or how to prevent the fire from happening. So this is basically the direction that we need to head towards together with AI and automation. So what are the tools in AI and automation? So the main one we will look at is AI and machine learning. So AI basically is the umbrella of everything. The subcategory under AI is ML, machine learning. So if you look at AI or machine learning, basically it is actually going through a process of learning based on the data that we have given the system. So as what Mr. Monica Vasugam mentioned earlier, so if we feed it with the incorrect data, so it will learn the incorrect data and then produce a very biased results. So it is very important, as you mentioned, we need to feed the AI system with proper clean data. Next is NLP. NLP stands for Natural Language Processing. This is also part of a tool utilized within the AI system. What it does is basically it converts normal human language to something understandable for the machines. So this is commonly used in areas like analyzing feedback, complaints, and support logs. So this is one of the tools used in there. Next is RPA. RPA stands for Robotic Process Automation. Now, this tool is basically used for repetitive tasks. Basically, they are robots. They can execute repetitive tasks. So this is used in commonly in areas like automated reporting and data collection. Now, RPA has also now evolved into IPA, Intelligent Process Automation, because systems of RPA has been included with machine learning as well. So they are able to not only do repetitive tasks, but they are also able to make decisions once they have executed a certain task. Okay, other tools in other automation tools that we can look at is predictive analysis. These are tools which will be able to do forecast failures and performance drops. IoT, these are sensors. As you know, IoT stands for Internet of Things. So there are many different type of sensors available now. And next one is edge computing. So edge computing basically today, if you look at the sensors are at the peripheral where they extract data. This data is actually sent to a central server where processing is done, and results are actually sent back to the source. But what edge computing does is basically bringing the compute power closer to the source. So the uh, compute power is closer to the sensor. So one example of this is now PLCs in the manufacturing industry, they have edge computing already integrated into PLCs where they are able to extract the information and then um, from the machines, and they are able to calibrate or tune the machine accordingly immediately. So the processing speed is much faster. Okay. Okay, other tools we look at one of the most important tool is process mining. So I think there was some question asked, how do you optimize uh, any process that you have in an organization earlier? So there are process mining tools. These process mining tools are basically able to look at your current process, identify what are the gaps and what are the redundancy, and then highlight how to optimize the current process. So these are some important, this is quite an important tool where you will see in the use case that I'm going to present, they have used process mining tools to actually improve their processes. Next is business intelligence tools, or they are called BI tools. This is actually the visual presentation layer. So what tool does is basically convert the data that we are getting into graphical form. Why graphical form? Because human brains finds it easier to analyze graphical information. So like on a dashboard. So from there we can do further analysis and try to discover what are the other problems that is in the system, okay? Based and alerts and all that will be shown on the dashboard. Okay, now my topic today basically is focused on challenges. So this is where my main presentation will be focusing on challenges. So there are a few types of challenges that I'll be looking at in adopting automation and AI in organization. Okay, first is data and skills. Why data and skills is basically today, in any organization, if you look at it, data is quite fragmented. What I mean by fragmented is because there are many different type of tools being used within the organization, and they are all silo based. So whatever data they collect, they keep it in a silo repository. Okay, that is what I mean by fragmented. So this is one of the challenge that is many organizations are facing currently. Second, in terms of skill, is because of limited understanding of what AI capabilities are and what are the application potential among the teams. Okay, so in terms of data and skill, these are the challenges. And what are the mitigation for this is basically at an organization level, the organization needs to establish a data governance and quality process that needs to be implemented. And what I mean by data governance is basically to identify a framework where data can be consolidated into a common repository for further analysis. Now, earlier, I've also mentioned that we need to make sure that the data that we provide to the AI or automation system needs to be clean. If not, the results will be biased. So one of the one of the things that the organization need to do when they migrate into a common repository, they have to make sure the data that they go put into the common repository has to be cleansed. So there has to be a stage of cleaning onto the on the data that they receive. So this is basically to remove all outlier information. Next is on the limited understanding of AI. Organizations need to develop targeted training programs. This is to build AI literacy among lean practitioners. So for them to understand what are the capabilities of AI. Actually, if you look at what AI can do today, it is really tremendous, and it can really speed up our work. And in fact, it can be augmented to work with human beings. Okay. Next, challenges is in terms of change and cost. So what I mean by change here is basically change management. So in terms of change management, it is always a common uh, things that will happen in any organization. When you introduce something new, there will be resistance. You cannot run away from that. Why? Because it's common human behavior. I am doing things now in a normal way, day in, day out, I'm doing the right thing, but why suddenly introduce something which is going to be out of the norm? Because for people, they have to learn new technology, they have to understand on the new technology. So because of this, they incur the resistance to adopt this technology. Second, in terms of cost, is investment barriers. Of course, these new tools of AI and automation is going to be very expensive. So there's going to be significant upfront capital that the organization need to bring in, and they need to also prove that the return on investment is it's justified during within a certain time frame. So these are the challenges in terms of change management and cost. So what are the mitigation strategies for this? For this, basically, for the first one on organizational resistance, organization need to make very clear communication framework to emphasize how the AI can augment human capabilities rather than replacing them. So, why people tend to resist a new introduction of technology is because of fear of their job being taken away. Okay, but actually, if you look at what has been happening with AI, they do take some part of the work, but they make our lives easier in order for us to focus on more high value things. So that is where AI comes in and how they augment the activities that we do. Okay, on the cost barrier, what we do is basically to implement at a scalable level. We start small. Today, if you look at the cloud system, cloud service providers, much of the AI and automation tools are readily available. So this is as part of the subscription package, you can take this and start implementing on a small scale. Do a proof of concept. Once the proof of concept is done and it's working, then you can replicate it into other lean systems. Okay. So these are how you mitigate the challenges for change management and cost. Okay, the next challenges is in terms of governance, scalability, and vision. So what I mean by this is uh, in terms of governance is lack of governance. There is no AI accountability within the organization and ethical use of policies. Today, people misuse a lot of the AI capabilities doing deep fakes and all that. So we need to make sure that there's some governance within the organization. So these are challenges that the organization needs to take up. In terms of scalabilities, the tools, as I mentioned earlier, different groups within the organization use different tools, maybe for the same purpose or some for a different purpose. Data still lies on silo within each of those tools. So uh, there is no opportunity to do scalability if the systems are all silo based. Uh, Next, in terms of vision, is basically the weak executive sponsorship. There's no top-down support in any new initiatives within an organization. It is always important to have a top-down support from the top management to down working level. Everybody needs to speak of the same lingo in terms of the implementation. So these are challenges that the organizations need to overcome in order to do a successful implementation. So the mitigation for this strategy is basically for lack of governance. Organization need to look at some frameworks which are out available there. Like example for AI governance, currently the ISO has uh, policy ISO 42001, which explains how AI governance or framework can be implemented within an organization. Uh, in Malaysia, Malaysian Digital Ministry has also come up with a national AI policy, which gives a guideline on how AI should be implemented responsibly and ethically within an organization. In terms of scalability, mitigation plan is to standardize the platform. Look at what are the duplicate tools within the organization, standardize this tool to a common tool, and ensure that this particular tool is used throughout the organization so that data collected from respective systems are common. In terms of weak execution, we have to look at organization level. Top management needs to align it with the business goal. So one of the best ways to do this implementation is through KPI implementation. So at the top level, uh, organization, you need to identify what is the goal that you need to do and cascade the goal down so that all at the bottom level will be able to also replicate that goal and go towards work towards that goal. Okay. Okay, I'll go through the case studies now. This is a case study for General Electric Healthcare. Okay. Now, the nature of the business is basically they are doing global medical technology and digital solution. Now, the product they produce is diagnostic imaging, monitoring, and AI-driven healthcare. So, what were their challenges? Their challenges was basically they had a complex supply chain. So, the data availability was all over the place. So it is not it was fragmented, as I mentioned earlier, one of the challenges. So they could, because they did not have an end-to-end value chain, which was not visible, so they were having problems coordinating shipments, communicating delivery dates, and also to speed up cash flow. Because of the delays, they had problems in um, getting the cash flows going. So what was their goal? Their goal was basically to transform their supply chain, improve their on-time delivery, and optimize their revenue. And how did they do it? So they use this tool called Celonis. Celonis is basically AI-driven process mining tool. So this tool basically analyzes and optimizes the business process. So it analyzes your current process and understands where the overheads are, where is the opportunity for optimization, and based on this, it can actually give a proposal. So there's AI inclusive within Celonis. Okay. So, and what was the outcome of using this tool was basically um, they managed to speed up cash flow by 2 weeks. They reduced the fulfillment cycle by 18 days, and they freed up a massive of 1.3 billion in terms of finance. So they got the cash flow going much faster. So the attached here is also the source where you can actually read up more on this case study. The next case study is based on Pigment Healthcare. This was also in the healthcare industry, and this is the application of AI in stroke care. So their nature of business is basically they're not non-profit organization. They do community health. They have about 25 hospitals and over 1,700 care locations. They deliver high quality patient-centered care. What was their challenges? Challenges is they had delayed stroke diagnosis due to manual imaging. They were using manual imaging. So based on that, they had delayed uh, findings to be reported. And they had fragmented communication among teams. So they had two issues. One, they were using manual imaging workflows, and they had to manually identify if there's a potential stroke for the patient. And second, as the patient moves from one station to another station during the diagnostic check, there were no proper communication, which was streamlined across. Another is a workflow inefficiency. They had lack of real-time coordination, which led to delays in treatment and impacting the patient outcome. So, what were their goals? Their goal was basically to reduce time to treatment and enhance team efficiency. And what did they do? Their strategy was they adopted this tool called Vis.ai platform. So, this is actually an AI-powered care coordination solution, and it uses AI to accelerate patient care and improve outcomes. And one of the important things that this platform did was they integrated the platform to the imaging system. And this platform was able to automatically detect large vessel occlusions in stroke patients. So this basically sped up their diagnosis in order to get proper results um, of the patient's condition. So the outcome basically they uh, achieved a significant decrease in the time from patient arriving to treatment initiation and improving patient outcomes. They also improved the real-time alerts and streamlined communication across the stroke care teams. Okay, so you can also find the case study and the source provided here. Okay, what are the best practices and implementation tips in implementing AI and automation? So the first thing within an organization, what you need to do is start small. So like what Mr. Manika Vasagan mentioned just now, you have to first identify what is the optimized, you have to first identify the process, then you have to optimize the process. So you don't go with a big bang. You go with a small, you start small on a pilot, and then you replicate this pilot to encompass a bigger system coverage. Next is you need to ensure that there are cross-functional teams. Why cross-functional teams? As I mentioned, data cannot be fragmented. It has to be consolidated. So teams have to work together. So we need to combine the lean team together with the IT team, and the data experts have to sit together. They have to work together and plan out how is the implementation going to be done. So this is an important factor. So everybody is on the same page on the implementation. Next is to look at no-code tools. Basically, you either look at no-code or low-code, because we need to empower non-technical users to use the system. So it cannot be too technical based. So today there are many tools in the market which provide the no-code or low-code availability. Next is customer impact. Of course, customer impact being the most important of the lot. We need to always prioritize customer value, because objective is to deliver what the customer wants with quality. Okay, so these are the implementation tips to be kept in mind during the implementation process. Okay, in terms of implementation roadmap, how do we go from pilot to scale? So first we identify which is a high impact lean process that we want to automate. Okay. Then we pilot, we launch a small scale test using selected AI or RPA tools. And then we measure, evaluate the outcome of using the tool. Has it given any improvements? Now, this cycle of identify, pilot, and measure can go into few iterations until we achieve the objective and goal that we want. Once we have done that, then we move on to the next stage of scaling it, standardize and deploying successful use cases across the organization. Okay. So what is the industry trend and moving forward? So basically, in terms of digital Lean Sigma, it is going to be what we are going to refer to moving forward is going to be digital Lean Six Sigma. It's going to be data driven. So decisions are going to be made based on data, data driven decisions. And the traditional techniques will still be there. The methods are there. But how these methods are executed is using the emerging technology tools like AI and automation tools like RPA. It has to be human AI collaboration. It is not a single partner, single entity work. It's going to be a partnership. AI does the work. Humans have to come in to verify the work done by AI. Even today, if you look at ChatGPT, if you're all familiar in using ChatGPT, ChatGPT can give an outcome, but you need to still verify the outcome from ChatGPT. There are many times when I have come across information given is not accurate, because I do my own references after that. So when you inform ChatGPT, I'm unable to find this reference, it will actually acknowledge that it has done a mistake and give you another reference. So we need to accept the fact AI are not perfect as well. They are still learning machines. They're still in the process of learning. The more information they get exposed to, they become closer to perfect. Not perfect, but closer to perfect. So the human AI collaboration has to be there, and it has to work hand in hand. Okay. Now, advanced analytics evolution. So basically, we need to move from what happened to what should happen, meaning from reactive to proactive. So we have to move towards that in order for us to. That is going to be the moving forward trend in terms of Lean and Six Sigma. And finally, governance framework. Since we are going to use these tools, AI and automation, we need to ensure that there is a proper governance within the organization. So as I mentioned earlier, ISO 42001 and other similar standards which will provide some guidelines in terms of ethically using and responsibly using AI within the organization. Okay. So the key takeaways from here today is basically one, we need to amplify the value. So AI enhances Lean. It doesn't replace it. So it still has to work together. The methods, tools, the methods of Six Sigma and Lean are still there. Just that AI uses this to speed up the process and assist us in identifying things so that we can make optimized process evaluation. We need to have the right tools. So you need to make sure that whenever you select a particular process, you have the right tools to match the improvement that you are going to achieve. And finally, it is the we start small. Don't scale up slowly as each start small project gets successful. Slowly expand this and make it scalable. Okay. Okay. I think that's all what I have now. Maybe we can go to any questions if there are.
Yes. So thank you, Mr. Sivalingam, for the rich and practical presentation. So you are provided us with a much needed dose of reality when it's come to implementing AI and automation in this project. And then now we are in Q&A session. So we invite you guys to send us the question if you have in the chat box or raise your hand. Yes. All right. So we have one question from Mr. Mohammed Peng, right?
Okay.
Right.
Sorry. Okay, I think one of the questions is what are some of the KPIs to track when implementing augmented Lean Six Sigma? So the KPI, okay, when we talk about augmented Lean Six Sigma, what is the key parameters that we want to look at? Okay, at maybe at a working level, we want to improve efficiency. We want to ensure that the deliverables for a particular project are on time. So one example I can share is I've been involved in software project deliveries. So when we go through the software cycle, there is the initial phase of requirement, design, and then these development, testing, and then final production. Now, we noticed that delivery was getting delayed. So one of the KPIs we were looking at was to identify where is the bottleneck across this life cycle. And we found that testing was taking a lot of time. And so we narrowed down on testing. And then we introduced some parameters in testing to understand which part of the testing is actually causing. Is it the planning? Is it the execution? Are there too many defects? So a lot of parameters needs to be identified. And at project levels, we will identify what are the various parameters. Then we'll come up with an organization goal, which every project needs to meet. So how do we come? We have to collect historical data, and based on that, we will come to a final organization goal. Now, this organization goal need not be the final cast in stone, because as we move along, we get more data coming in. So this goal gets refined. So at organization level, the goal will be more supporting every project within the organization. Okay, so that is one at project level. For in terms of organization at management level, they look at finances. What is the cash flow? Okay, they want to increase cash flow. They want to, in order to bring in more business, they want to find more business. What are the areas within business development that they can improve? So they need to look at KPIs at that particular different areas of the business development component. Okay, hope that answers.
Right. Okay. Right. Thank you, Mr. Simalinga, for the answer, and thank you, Mr. Aiman, for the question. As for me, I also have a question from my side, which is how do you recommend for organization to decide which AI or automation tools to adopt when starting their lean digital journey?
Okay, So,
Uh-huh.
as I mentioned earlier, okay, it's very important to decide what is the focus area you want to look at. Okay. Now, example, if you want to speed up processes, so you can look at tools like RPA, okay, because it's repetitive process. So there are certain criteria you need to put up, identifying in terms of if it's example related to uh, process related, then we look at process mining tools. If it's repetitive tasks, we look at RPA. Now, if it is, if we want to make, we want to use AI to in order to make some decisions, then we need to look at things like machine learning, so that it can actually pick up on what the issues are and then give some proposals and suggestions. Okay, so it depends on the scenario or the use cases that you want to look at. Today, if we look at things like ChatGPT, it has machine learning. Okay, it learns and then it gives some answers to the questions we ask. Uh, Now the trend is moving towards autonomous AI. Autonomous AI are things like AI agents. AI agents are actually able to learn. They're also able to make a decision and execute it. Okay, there is some complication in this as well, where people find that if AI are to make some decision, um, who's going to be responsible for this decision? Okay, the 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 product belongs to a particular organization, so who's going to be responsible in terms of a decision made if it's a critical decision? Now, people are looking at a new area called explainable AI. Explainable AI is basically identifying um, where the AI agents are actually able to uh, provide reasoning why they took this decision. So, uh, why this is important is because it will basically allow us to understand why this decision was made and whether in future there needs to be any fine tuning in the decision making, because all this decision making are based on algorithms. There are many algorithms within AI which you can employ in AI to do decision execution. Okay, so maybe that algorithm needs to be fine tuned. So the trend that moves is basically it is moving very fast. Okay, and organizations need to basically keep up with the trend on what um, AI. They cannot shy away from AI. We really need to uh, hold hand in hand with AI and move forward, because if not, we will be left behind.
Yes. So thank you, Mr. Sipanika, for the answer. And then we have two more questions from our participants. From one Nurna, one is about identifying the root cause of the defects if we want to use machine learning. How do we integrate the machine learning into our current system?
Okay, so machine learning basically, as I mentioned earlier, it's learning. Okay, so what it needs historical data. So in organizations like in my previous organization, what we do is whenever a project completes, we do post-mortem on the project. Post-mortem here is to identify one of the part of the post-mortem is also to do root cause analysis. So when we do root cause analysis, we'll identify what are the shortcomings of the project and what are the challenges we face, what are the good things we did. So all these are captured and put into a repository. Now, when you have many projects and when you do postmortems on this and identify root cause analysis all into a common repository, the AI that you have, the machine learning, will be able to pick up from here and use this information in future when projects are running and in the midst of a project there is a problem, and they are able to actually um, propose some solution on how to overcome this upfront rather than when we identify at the end of the project. So this is one way of how machine learning can be used. Okay, the
Oh,
next question
okay. Next question
is
from Mr. Lotiswami Paliandi, in your experience, what are the most common governance gaps that companies overlook when integrating AI into Lean Sigma project?
Okay, in most organizations, what I notice is they don't have any governance. They straight away embark into an AI. So today, many companies they have their product. So what they do is because AI is the in thing, the in technology now, which is popular, everybody is talking about. They look at the product and they straight away insert AI capabilities in there, not looking at what are the what are the advantages of it. So there's basically where if I want to sell my product, if I say it has AI capabilities, so it will sell well because everybody know this is going to be a super intelligent product. So I think the governance part is really lacking in many organizations. So that is why now, as I mentioned, digital ministry has also come up with the AI policy. So a lot of they haven't mandated as such, but it has to be. We need to look at it for reference and guide, and we need to start establishing it. But in other countries like US and European Union, they have mandated a lot of these frameworks.
Correct. So thank you for the answer, Mr. Sivalingam. And also thank you for the audience for the great questions. It's been extremely helpful to learn from the real world experience on using these tools in the environment. So what stood out most was your honest and experience-driven take on the challenges, something we often doesn't hear enough about. From the selection of the right tools to managing resistance on the ground, your insights are a valuable guide for anyone looking to take innovation. Yeah. So your session has added a lot of depth to our conversation today, and I am sure it has sparked ideas and consideration for everyone listening. Thank you again for sharing your knowledge with such clarity and authenticity. Yeah. So let's we as we approach for with the final session of the day, it's time to bring in a human-centered view transformation. So we have another our next speaker, which is Miss Nuran Santila Abdullah, who is a transformation strategist with a strong belief in the power of people. She understands that technology, no matter how advanced, can only succeed when it grounded in culture, leadership, and also human connection. So in her session, titled Humanizing Digital Transformation, Building a Culture for Augmented Lean Success, she's explore how to foster a digital first mindset across teams and how to build the kind of organization culture that support and sustain innovation. So this session will be especially valuable for leaders and change agents looking to ensure that transformation isn't just about the tools, but also about trust, transparency, and also people. So let's please give a warm welcome to Miss Noren Santida Abdullah.
Okay, hi, good afternoon. Okay, so my name is Norin Sakila. Okay, let me share my screen first. I'm sorry. Can you see
Yes.
my screen?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Okay, so my topic today would be humanizing digital transformation, building a culture for augmented lean success. Okay. All right, so how AI and human augmented but not replaced. Okay, so most people feels intimidated by AI or the new technology. Like some of us feels like the AI more intelligent than human because they know everything. They know a lot of things that human didn't know. Okay, so, digital transformation is more than just technology. It's about people. Okay, so um, I think many companies focus on tools like AI, automation, or Lean Six Sigma, but the real success comes when people understand, accept, and drive the change. Okay, so if we implement a very good the best technology in the company, but the people in the company, the people in the organization didn't accept it, didn't want to understand the change, uh, the 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 technology cannot perform excellent. So if the culture isn't ready, even the best system will fail. So as the Peter Drucker once said, culture eats strategy for breakfast. So this is where we should focus on the culture and the human more during the implementation of the technology. Okay, so a humanized approach build a culture where people feel safe, involved, and empowered. Okay, people need to feel included in the journey. Psychological safety, open communication, and shared goals are critical during this process. So when the people are engaged, tech become a tool for growth, not fear. Okay, so I think according to survey by WalkMe, 65% of leaders believe that poor digital employee experience contribute to resignation in their organization. This statistic underscores the importance of prioritizing human element in digital initiative. Okay, I think if you familiar about the during the PKP, a lot of teachers like the 40 or 50 plus years old kind of resign early because they don't know how to use um technology during the PKP because it's everything becomes online because it is a sudden change happen. When PKP students cannot go to school, teachers cannot go to school, so everything is online. So most of the most of them which do not have children at home that can teach them how to even to use like Google Meet or online, how to upload the notes online, how to um, use the like Zoom. So most of them like feel very pressured about this change. So a lot of them kind of resign early because of that. And here is the loss because they are very experienced teacher, very experienced in their own field. But because of the sudden change in using of technology, we lost the experienced worker. We lost the experienced people in this academic background for this case, right? Okay, so here how we want to we want to we want to people embrace that AI and human we can augment it, not replace. We should not feel fear about how AI gonna replace us, replace our job. That one day maybe there is no job for us because everything will be taken over by AI. Okay, so Let's see. Okay, so why culture matters in digital transformation? Okay, so the common pitfall is the many transformation effort fail not because the poor tech, but because the culture wasn't ready. So we have a very good technology, we have a very good system, but if the culture does not accept, does not ready for the change, it will be a failure. Okay, so change is human. Technology change fast, but people change more slowly. Okay, and transformation only succeed when people are on board, when people are ready to embrace the change. So, like what I tell earlier, if but during PKP we don't have choice. It's everything suddenly happens. So we don't have like we have to you know introduce to the system first, so we don't have that thing during that time. So everything suddenly happen. Okay, so if we have choice, we have to introduce the system slowly to the worker, to the people, before we implement it completely. Okay, so augmented lean's human role. Once Lean Six Sigma focus on process excellence, augmented lean include AI automation, digital tools, but still needs human to drive, guide, and correct the course. Okay, so we really need human to make this success. Okay, so what does a humanized digital culture look like? Okay, so we need to it's a workplace where people and technology grow together. Okay, so first we have to empower the workforce. Okay, when employees feel their ideas are heard, they become champion of change. Okay, here when we implement a new system, a new technology, sometimes the employees feel left out because it's too uh, it's too advanced for them. So we don't want this to happen. We don't want this to happen. We don't want the employees feel empowered, feel threatened by AI. They should feel empowered by AI, by the technology. Okay, so the second is digital literacy for all. Is here is not only the IT team has digital literacy. So most of people think like if we don't have any background in IT, in computer science, we totally we totally don't have digital literacy. We just like um you know we are not be able to do that. No, we don't want the employee to feel like this. We want them to think like digital literacy is for all the employee, no matter their background, their age. Uh, we can learn this, we can do this. Okay, so tech should not be a barrier. Training must be inclusive, accessible, and continuous. Okay, so when we implement any system or technology, um, we should have we should and train continuously the employee, not only the first time when we want to implement it, but the system, it always updated, upgraded. So the people, we should updated the knowledge, update the training, so that we can go side by side with the change of technology. Okay, so the third is psychological safety. Create an environment when people are not afraid to experiment or fail. That's where the innovation grow. Okay, what's usually happen, people scared to test it. People scared to use the technology. Um, People scared to make a change. Okay, so like some in the government sector, they still use paper, a lot of paper, because some of them didn't trust the system. What if the document in the system lost somewhere? Okay, so they prefer the paper, the physical. So here is when the people so afraid to test it, to experiment the technology. Okay, so we want this psychological safety in the company, in the organization, when people freely want to test it, want to experiment. It's okay to ask question or make mistake. Okay, so psychologically, people very afraid to make mistake, and if they have a mindset that if we ask question, we are not intelligent. We are so slow to understand that. That is the killer of the any innovation in this world, because how can we learn if we too afraid to test, too afraid to ask question? We cannot learn anything if like there are 10 people in the room but no one ask question. So the like in the classroom, when a teacher is teaching and there is 10 student in the classroom, so when the student did not ask anything, so the teacher will feels like the student all understand. But the problem is none of them uh, brave enough to ask questions. So if one of them start asking question, the other will feel safe to ask question too. So there is when the learning happen. But when there is no one brave enough to ask question, the learning not so effective. Same goes to this process. Okay, so how we can how the solution, what can we do? So how can organization build it? Okay, so there is like 5 things like I think we should do. The leaders walk the talk. Okay, so uh, most important thing is the leaders must set the example by using digital tool themselves. Okay, some of the leaders, they just maybe they know, but uh, they like very don't want to use it in front of the employee, so they just give instruction for them to use, but they themselves didn't use it. So first thing is the leaders must set the example by using digital tools themselves. So the leaders openly learn new tech alongside their team, show it's okay to learn and adapt. Because if the employee watches, the leaders also can make mistake while using the new technology, while using the new system. Why can them? So they feel more confident to try it. Okay, so invite employee to co-create the solution. Instead of telling teams what to do, ask for their ideas too. Like if some of them couldn't do this, what we have to their ask them, like what's slowing you down, how can this tool help your daily work? Okay, we always hear from the employee. And that is celebrate small wins, so change feel achievable. Okay, like a very small thing that the employee achieve, we should celebrate. Like highlight the small improvement, like we reduce paperwork by 30% this month. This can give your employee excited, feel appreciate, publicly thank the team members who try something new, share the success stories within the department. Okay, so the fourth is train digital ambassador in every department. Okay, so this one is identify and train 1 or 2 people in each team to help peers learn new system and act as a role model. So they can provide quick support. The lastly, keep on feedback loops. Okay, so make it easy for employees to share concern or struggle. When we have to always hear from them. If there are there are some difficulties using it. We want them to tell us, because if they don't tell us, we don't know what's the problem. So we must encourage them to share concern, suggest improvement, and know their input matters. We have to make sure they know that their input matters. Okay, so AI and human as augmented workforce. AI should support human, not replace them. This is what we should always tell our employee. Okay, so let's AI handle repetitive rule-based tasks. So like data entry, inventory tracking, auto generating report, because these tasks AI work faster with this and 24/7 without fatigue. Letting the AI handle these tasks save time and reduce error, but let human focus on judgment, creativity, and empathy. Okay, so humans are still essential where the critical thinking and decision making are needed. Yes, AI or any system can help us with that, but the human that has the authority to make this, to making any decision and critical thinking, creative ideas, emotional intelligence matters, like in team leadership, customer service. Yeah, what I learned during my journey in digitalization. Okay, so right now there's a lot of AI. There are a lot of class that teach by AI. There's a very um, interactive slide, the AI teach us in the class. But I feel like there is no soul in that. Okay, I feel when a teachers as a human, deliver the knowledge, it feels more alive. It feels more like there is soul in it. And I really think it much easier to understand from human teach rather than AI. Even though the AI create a very very interactive slide, not like mine. This is very boring slide because I've been this very interactive with the animation, with the example. It's very very beautiful and everything is interesting, but still there is no soul in it. So here's when the human still relevant. Okay, so invest in upskilling so no one is left behind. So digital tools are changing fast. If we don't prepare our people, they feel overwhelmed, afraid, or even useless. So upskilling means teach employees how to work with digital tools, building confidence in tech use, develop skills in data communication and critical thinking. So yeah, like the system, we need upgrade it in like once a month or 3 months, 3 months. So as human, we need to upgrade ourselves in upskilling. We need new knowledge, we need new information. Okay, so this is important. Okay, okay, we come to the last slide. Inspiring sustainable change. In the end, successful transformation isn't about deploying tools, it's about developing people. Okay, tools and systems are only part of the puzzle. The real transformation happens when we build trust, empower teams, and lead with empathy. Humanizing digital change isn't soft, it's strategic. So, culture is the soil, innovation is the seed. If we nourish the culture, innovation will grow. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you for your time and attention.
All right. All right. So thank you, Ms. Lauren Santila, for your thoughtful and human-centered session. So as we wrap up our webinar, your words are timely reminder that while tools and technology are essential, is it the people and culture behind them that truly drive transformation? So now we go through to our Q&A session. We invite you guys, our participants, if you have our question, kindly ask Ms. Nora Santila by chat box. Alright, while waiting, question from our, yes. So I have one question for you, Miss Nora Santila, which is sorry. Right. So my question is what role does leadership play in shaping a sustainable digital culture? Sorry,
Sorry,
Miss.
could you repeat it?
Yes. Okay, so my question is what role does leadership play in shaping a sustainable digital culture?
I think it's a continuous support from the leadership, from the leader, from the company itself. So when the employees feel like uh, they're supported by the leaders, they want to learn it, even though at first they're like reluctant to do it, but if the
Yes.
support is very strong from the leaders, especially, they feel like they understand the employees hardship. I think it will be more easier to implement it. I
Yes,
hope.
agree with it. Right. So we move forward with second question from Mr. Muhammad Aiman Marzuki. How do you train or upskill employees to adapt to an augmented lean environment?
uh, okay, thank you for the question. How do you train or upskill employees to adapt to an augmented lean environment? Okay, I think some of the leaders also don't have very much knowledge in this field, right? So I think it's better to invite someone that is experienced to upskill, to train the employee, or maybe send them to the any course. But um, we must make sure the trainer or the course know that this is from the level of understanding of our employee itself. Either they are the beginner or intermediate or maybe a pro. So this is very important because some of the training they don't have the very beginner level for the training. They just assume that all of these people have the basic knowledge in the system, in the course. But when the trainer jump into the advanced thing, they're just lost because they can't catch up anything because the basic is not there. I think that is the solution.
Okay, so thank you so much, Miss Noren Santila, for the heartfelt and thoughtful response. And also thank you to our participants for the wonderful question. So this session truly reminded us that people are at the heart of every successful transformation. So as and with that, we conclude our webinar on Augmented Lean Six Sigma, today bringing operational excellence with digital and AI innovation. A big thank you to all our presenters for sharing their knowledge and experience so generously, and to you, our audience, for being such an engaging part of the discussion. So we hope this session has sparked idea and give you a clear view of how lean and AI and people-centric transformation can come together to create future-ready organization. So, as for before we end, I would like to share with our participants QR code, which is a testimonial form for our speaker. Okay, right. So everyone can scan and fill out the form as for our feedback, as for the feedback for today's session. All right. So as we getting through the end, so we would like to invite you guys to open the camera for we having both group photo for before we end. So can you guys open the camera? So okay. Uh, mm, okay. So all right. So can I capture it right now? Okay, get ready everyone. So okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, all right. Okay, thank you for you guys participants through our webinar, and thank you for our speaker for today's session. And we look forward for next challenge next exploring on how to turn operational challenges into digital opportunities. So until next time, stay curious and stay keep innovating and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.